We need someone. I'm just letting you know that I'm recording audio now. But we need to go down there, or one of us needs to go down there.
Yeah.
What happened? I've got no idea. I've been in my...
So basically, apparently the Queen isn't the Queen anymore. Because it's something about her dad isn't her real dad. Like, she's not the legitimate bloodline. And they've taken the crest off of Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, apparently she's been dethroned, and so there's a king. So there's a new king. What's his name?
We have a king now, Gregory, Greg or something.
Yeah.
So random.
What?
Yeah.
But yet no one seems to know.
That's bizarre. I watched the fake Prince Charles on Sky, and I thought...
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's blatantly not him.
No.
Okay, so welcome to another Ascending Tribe weekly group chat. This week it's about actor-based reality, living in the illusion. And I don't actually mean to say that we are living in the illusion, because we are very aware of the illusion anyway. But first, before we get started, I would really like us to get to know each other a little bit more, even though we kind of know each other anyway. But what are the first 3 words that come to your mind when describing your 2020 experience? So for me, I'm going to say exciting, adventurous, and transformative. JP?
I'll say growth. I'll say weird, because of all the weirdness that's happening in the world now.
Yes.
And I would say, so I said growth, weird, and I would say love, because I think out of all that weirdness, like love will come out.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Olivia?
Weird was my first thought. Happiness, though, and a strange sense of calm.
Yeah, that's a good one. Christina, are you there?
I am. So my first word that came to my mind is unity.
Yes.
Then I have turning inwards. I know that's 2 words. But what else? And I think also it's a time of reflection.
Oh, that's a really good one. Yeah. Joe?
I think for me it would be definitely growth. A sense of excitedness, because I was really excited about this year, just in general, because I'm 33. And just spiritualness, really.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Miguel?
There's a spiritualness.
I'm going with amazed, enlightened, amazed at the audacity. Amazed carries both sides. I'm amazed at how things are, and amazed how people are duped by what's going on, and their stupidity and their sheep-like behaviour. But personally, I'm quite amazed by what's happening around the world and what's happening with me. Enlightened as well.
Yes.
Because I'm meeting new people like yourselves, like Simone, and that was just because I just joined that E202 group, and I thought, they've got no one doing videos. So I thought, the fuckers. And then when I found out you'd been let down on so many occasions, I just thought, and there was a point I thought, shit, I can't do this. I've got loads of work on now. So it was enlightened by meeting what you got, and enriched. That's the last one.
Oh, I love that one. Yes.
Love that.
Enriched. And I'm back on my healthy diet. I'm eating almonds like they're going out of fashion. And these, from Tesco, are delicious. Organic almonds. They're worth the extra 45p. They are just so yum. That's my plug. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
No, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Good to hear. Like, we are all having positive experiences. What is actor-based reality? It's the indication, and I was really fighting with this word actually, whether to use another word, but yeah. So it's the indication that the whole world is a theatre, and we are in a Truman Show-like construct. That all politicians, celebrities, musicians, religious figures are paid actors. How do we feel about that, guys? What do you guys know? So do you believe that we are living in an actor-based reality, that the politicians are actors, obviously celebrities are actors, but on a different kind of level, public figures? Greta
Yes, yes,
Thunberg.
and yes. Yes. All of that.
Do you want to elaborate, Livia? How do you feel about this?
It's hard to explain, but for the people who step back and can see, okay, it's like I don't know if you saw, but there was a news thing where they were saying the exact same thing on like every single news channel that they could find. It was repeated,
I saw that.
and it's like, this is local news, and it's all exactly the same all across. It's
Scripted.
that, and then our politicians here are just, it's a bunch of ridiculous drama like you'd see in a TV show. It's so stupid.
Yep.
I can see right through it. It's hard to explain how to see right through it, but you should be smart enough to see that, wow, these people are paid to say these things to the everyday people to get them to believe it.
Yeah, like news is no different from a Hollywood movie.
Exactly. If it's on TV, they're paid.
Yeah, exactly. Miguel?
Yeah, have to agree. Love the Truman Show movie and the whole concept. And,
I do like the movie, yeah.
And I was always rooting for him to find out that he was being conned, he was being duped from the get-go, because everything was so sterile and manufactured. And when you watch the news, and I learned about this years ago. I was actually informed this by a media studies teacher who said, look, you're being pre-programmed. And the amount of shit that they pumped out at the start of all this lockdown was, watch iPlayer, watch box sets, watch this, it's on the ITV hub, watch this box set, watch that box set to keep you indoors, to keep you watching the TV. And what you said, I've been doing research on the Black Mirror thing.
Yes.
Yes.
I watch my TV now, I'm thinking,
I like that with my iPhone as well.
I want to get a projector. I'm looking at projectors. There was one called LumiBee, but it's shit. But I'm looking at a projector that I can plug my TV into. But no, it's just, TV is so fucking banal and dumbed down shit. Like, I'm a Celebrity, Got Talent, X Factor. All this stuff is designed to dumb you down and to basically
program you,
hook you into a big system. Yeah, exactly. Hook you into a system, and you are like, and then when you go to work, you talk about this shit. Oh, did you see I'm a Celebrity? Anton Deck, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck about their crappy lives. I really do not. More important things. And getting in touch with that, because I've more, it's so funny because I've got a couple of spiritual people who are teachers, and they're saying, we all are all resonating with each other. And that's why they're trying to separate us with our energy fields.
Yeah.
I've learned more about karma and such, and they are trying to divide us to conquer us.
Yes.
So through yourself, you're bringing us together so we can defeat them.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm always, and Mish, the lady I told you about, she always tells me with her guys up there, and everything she says to me, she's got bang on. Absolutely bang on.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Miguel. JP, do you have anything to add to this section? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, everyone, like, I agree with what everyone else have said, and I think how I see it is that all these actors, they are sort of portrayed as these, how do you call them? Like the demigods that we, and
idols.
like
role models.
Exactly, and there's nothing.
That's my thing. Yeah,
there's nothing modeling about, there's nothing good
about
these people, like they, And actually, when you actually look at what they do outside of all the films or the singing or whatever, like their life is actually, they live very unspiritual life in a way. And, and then we watch them on TV, we watch them singing, we watch them whatever, and we actually pay so much money and we go and buy their shows. We go and we buy all the cinema tickets to actually watch them on the screen. And then we learn about all these evil things that they're doing in the back. And we sort of ignore, and we keep, next time they come up with a new movie or a new album, we keep buying all these albums, and it's all being programmed, as Miguel said, to keep dumbing us down. And it's huge distraction from what's actually happening in the world. and and maybe we can talk about this a little bit later, but they are a distraction of what's behind. So they are sort of like the separation behind there's a bigger group controlling them, or a smaller group with a lot of power anyway. Yes. And they are distracting us from seeing what these the 1% is doing behind the scene.
Yes. So there is a small group of actors at the top playing multiple roles.
Yep.
Joe.
Well, I think what I was going to say is basically about the role models, is that I feel that it's so hard for people, like the sheep-like people, to actually see these people for who they really are, because they admire these people. They don't, because they want to emulate them themselves. So it's difficult for them to separate that, to even have that thought in their head of, oh, do you know what, these are actors, they're not actually real people. The people that you're idolizing, they're not necessarily real, basically.
And they see them as good people as well, like automatically think that a celebrity equals a good person, unless anything bad comes out in the news about them.
But even when it does come out, it will be like a small period of, oh, okay, we won't, I don't support this person, but then they will then be portrayed as fantastic people all over again.
Yeah. Christina, did you have anything to add to this? Do you experience anything?
No, I mean, that's the first time really I reflect on that. And I don't know, I'm wondering, are these people then really aware of it? Or are they just being used?
So yeah, this is one question that I actually thought about as well, but I think they're definitely aware. They're 100%.
I think they're just puppets.
They're puppets. They know, because they're in their societies. They're in these secret societies.
Because they get something out of it as well. They get that notoriety, apart from the payments and stuff. But people idolize them, worship them.
Some of them are even blackmailed as well into these roles.
Yeah, but I think that these people are like, they get a sense of power from the fact that these people idolize them.
Yeah,
they get this feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but
this power is
you get a buzz from it. Even when I was doing my university degree and I had to give a speech about a project in front of 200 people in the lecture theatre, you go in there and you're all like nervous, but then when people are engrossed by what you're telling them and showing them design work, and then suddenly you feed off it, and then when I think back, I think, fucking hell, it was their energy and their interest in what I was talking about. And that's why they get the buzz, and they get
your ego attaches.
Exactly, that's the one. That's it.
They want more and more.
Yeah, because we're human. That's the thing. We are only human as well, and we have faults regardless of whether we want to live a spiritual life or whatever type of life. We are susceptible to a lot more things. We just have to be mindful of what we're actually doing.
Exactly.
And you know what I find sad sometimes, Joe, you said that earlier. You said, we idolize them and we think, they are good people, even if we know they are not good people, and we learn they are not good people. Like they cheat, they do all sorts of stuff.
Yep, all sorts.
And 2 weeks later, they come up with a new album. They're good again. But so we forgive them. But what's sad is, people that we actually love in our own life, in our personal lives, they do something even tiny bit, like not even a fraction of, but it takes us sometimes months or sometimes years to forgive them.
I completely agree with that. Yes, you're completely right. And I think also as individuals, we then see it as this is acceptable behavior from people like that. Yes. And we won't question it. We don't question it, but yet we would question your own friend. If they treated you like that, you'd be like, I don't want a friend like that, but let me idolize somebody like that because they're allowed to be like that.
And yet these people are doing the most horrific
things. My God.
Traumatizing things.
So many different things. So many different things.
I just want to draw attention to let's look at some examples of actor-based reality. So Jimi Hendrix is Morgan Freeman. If you look into Jimi Hendrix's life in comparison to Morgan Freeman's life, when Jimi Hendrix died, Morgan Freeman's career took off. David Bowie, the moment David Bowie died, Jack Stevens came on to talk about David Bowie's life. He came on national TV to talk about his life. Bill Hicks, again, died, and then came Alex Jones. But look at them, look at the similarities. Anthony Price, okay, Anthony Price isn't dead, but like, I bet you won't see Anthony Price and Pope Francis in the same room, obviously. Like, it's quite a bizarre concept. And yeah, Jimmy Carter and JFK. JFK dies. Here's Jimmy Carter. Obama and Osama. Again, that's just another play on word magic, isn't it? That plays into the MK Ultra kind of thing.
But my question is, like, why do they need, like, for example, Jimi Hendrix died and then Morgan Freeman came on the scene. So why did Jimi Hendrix needs to die for Morgan, for Freeman to come on? You see what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, they all have a certain agenda, don't they? Like, they all have a part to play, and then their role comes to an end. Then they create a new character that plays into the agenda. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
Well,
so it's like if you're watching a sitcom and someone in EastEnders, okay, they die, but actually these people are already in these secret societies, and it's just basically using them, like reusing them, rather than having to keep recruiting people. Like, I'm sure these people go through mass mind control on another level, you know?
Yeah.
JFK was part of
So does that mean, sorry.
Go on, Miguel.
I was going to say JFK was part of a secret society, because that's not what I've heard.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I know a lot of people talk about him exposing the secret societies, but the thing is, you need to question the fact that every politician, every person in a leadership or power role in that level, they're selected. They're not elected. So
yes, I agree.
So you need to think, like, what was he? And the other thing is that there's a lot of people who are, like, look at David Icke, look at Alex Jones. They do talk about a lot of truth, but they hold back 20% so that you cannot piece the pieces together.
I've stopped watching Alex Jones.
Yeah, well, I just couldn't resonate with him. His approach is too aggressive. There was something too off. And I've actually realized, like, through my research, that he's a Mossad agent. He's linked to Israel. So David Icke is another one. I don't trust David Icke, because, not being funny, but when you look at these people, who are meant to be spreading truth, they get taken out. Normal people would get taken out straight away. Yeah. Look at Simone's joining. Sorry. Look at Chester Benningfield, John Podesta's son. He supposedly was attempting to come out and spread truth around the whole paedophile within the elite ring.
But there's so many that we spoke about that, the whole Jill Dando as well.
Yeah, exactly, Jill Dando.
So many people that
she was about to expose the paedophiles within the government, and then she got killed.
Yeah, and they get killed.
Christine,
I think maybe also, how about actor-based reality is basically people within the same bloodline that they all just look the same. So it's like all the same DNA, and they're just basically cloning it and cloning it and cloning it.
This is a very good point
people
that
are pre-exposed to already that type of indoctrination. So there isn't that much indoctrination to do, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense, but
no, I completely understand, because these people that are born into Illuminati families,
I always think, how can somebody look so alike? How, like, if you're not really related in any way whatsoever? Like,
well, cloning is a thing. They've been doing that for years. They clone people in the public eye. Like, if their MK Ultra starts breaking down,
well, look,
they have to be taken out and replaced.
I think the most famous one in my mind that I can think of is Paul McCartney.
Yes, exactly. He was taken out early.
That I remember when I went down that rabbit hole. Well, we spoke about that, where it was like, what? Like, can this really be? I think some of these things are so outlandish that in your mind you ask yourself, can this really actually be true?
Yeah, well, when I first came across this concept, I was like, nah. This is so far-fetched. Genuinely, I was thinking, like, and I was quite well into, like, my truth-seeking journey at this point, and I was like, no, this is so far-fetched. But then when you start researching the money, follow the money always, the bloodlines. When you start researching the bloodlines, there's a really good website called famousskin.com, And literally that tells you, like, I mean, that's just one example. You can research this from anywhere. But it's a good point that you mentioned, Jo, about the bloodlines. But Christine, did you want to ask a question?
Yes. Oh God, this is hang on, what was the question? Oh yeah, so basically, but are they then aware? Do they, if we say Jimi Hendrix dies and then Morgan Freeman comes, so is Jimi Hendrix aware that he is supposed to die, or is this like played that they make him die because he is kind of, I don't know, turning against them?
No, like Jimi Hendrix and Morgan Freeman, they're the same person. So it's, imagine like I come to you and say, Christina, like, you're going to die next week, and next month you're going to be this person. Because this is how it all plays into MK Ultra. Like through MK Ultra, they break down and create multiple personalities. So each of these people anyway have gone through a lot of trauma, and they have multiple personalities by nature, through, not by nature obviously, but through the trauma that they've endured through MK Ultra.
Okay.
I believe they are aware.
But what is the benefit out of it?
Because it's to help the agenda. I'll explain more as we go on. Let's move on. So well-known faces covering their agent roles, because this is the other thing, right? Hollywood is owned by CIA, is owned by the CIA. So actors are actually agents, if you think about it. Does anyone have any research or knowledge around this that they want to add? No.
I know.
Well,
So
let's look at some examples.
What's
Sorry?
his face? Have you got? No, he's not there. The Australian one, Mad Max. What's his name? Oh, fucking hell. Who's Mad Max?
Why can't I remember? Oh,
I know. I'm like,
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, because he completely dissed Hollywood, saying it's a cesspit and all that stuff, and it's full of sickos and perverts. And
But why hasn't he been taken out? How's he allowed to talk so openly about the truth?
Well, yeah,
That's what always
exactly.
gets me. That's what always gets me. Like he's in something. He sold his soul somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But look at Jim Carrey here, for example. This, if you know all about like Illuminati symbolism and Freemasonry gestures, this is the laughing face. This is the gesture that they make, and they're laughing at the masses. They're laughing at us. And who's that guy in America? Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, apparently I've heard he's in the Pizzagate.
Oh,
group.
he's a big one. Yeah, he's a big one.
Oh.
So he came, Jim Carrey came on to Jimmy Kimmel, and they were both doing this, and they were like joking, like, yeah, I'm in the Illuminati, haha. But actually, like, come on, like, this is what they do. This is how they mock us. Do you know what I mean?
Double
they flip it around. Yeah, exactly. To make you think you're stupid, to make you think you're crazy.
Double speak.
Sorry.
Good old double speak, as in who the Double Plus Good was 1984.
Yeah.
Which kind of predicted all of this.
And now Jim Carrey's coming out as like spiritual, and he's growing a beard, and he's all about nature and blah blah blah. Again, this is another act, guys. This is another act to implement controlled opposition. Because this is what we have to be careful about. Like, with the whole spiritual thing has been quite, like, this whole trend has been infiltrated, because we all know the New World Order, right? They want a new world religion. So they're hijacking this trend, if you like. You know, you're seeing it quite a lot. There's a lot of people talking about spirituality. They're not walking the walk. They're not walking the talk. They're just talking about it. You know.
This ties in with what's on the Georgia Stones.
Exactly. This is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So now you're going to see a lot of them. Oh yeah, I'm spiritual now. Oh, I'm retired from acting. No, they're actors. And let me tell you, these guys are blackmailed. Yeah. Anthony Bourdain. Well, he got killed. Why did he get killed? Was he going to come out? Like, he's very much in he was very in cahoots with the politicians. Look how he's chilling with Obama here.
Oh, sicko. The stuff I found out about Obama. Jeez.
Oh, don't. Oh, I just.
Sorry. Brad Pitt, I don't know if you guys heard about when Brad Pitt was filming the film, what was that film, Joe? World Z or something.
Yeah.
One of his films anyway. So this is the other thing. So these guys are agents. So the reason why I mentioned Anthony Bourdain, he was quite known to be in cahoots with Obama with regarding the child trafficking. He was very much involved. He was going back and forth from North Korea. Brad Pitt, again, another agent, like he was being investigated during the filming of World Z because they were smuggling in real arms, like real guns. Dennis Rodman, he's supposedly a hitman. You know, why is he chilling with Kim Jong-un here? I mean, this is another actor anyway. They're all actors. Like Trump, he's an actor. Boris Johnson, he's an actor. They're just puppets. They're just faces. Sean Penn, why is he sitting with Fidel Castro? He was meant to be known to be smuggling a load of drugs. He was involved in smuggling so much drugs. And Jack Nicholson, he had tunnels underneath his home, secret tunnels that were leading to the Playboy Mansion. And we all know, well, should know, Hugh Hefner was people trafficking, child trafficking. And Jack Nicholson was very, very much involved in that. You know, so this is part of the actor-based reality concept as well. It's just, well, I say it's a concept, it's not really a concept, you know.
Is the guy who's in prison, WikiLeaks guy, is he a good player or is he just a pawn in all of this?
Yes,
Julian
you know
Assange.
Yeah.
This is the question I asked Alex. I remember we spoke about that. What do you think?
I'm so on the fence. Yeah, what do you think, Miguel?
I'm 50-50 because if he is in squalor,
everyone thinks,
if he's in squalor, but if he's living in the life of luxury, I mean, for all we know, he might not even be in a cell. He might be somewhere on a fucking private island because he's a player in all of this. But then,
did you know that actually his I can't remember if it was his dad or his uncle. No, that was it. His dad is related to Trump's uncle. They're like cousins or something. Well, him and Trump are related somehow when you look into the bloodline. Right. So this is another thing that I'm like, but then I'm like really on the fence because some of them are going to be coming out because they are going to be wanting to swap sides because let's be honest, we are entering the golden age, right? So these elites are aware that their time is up and they are really trying to do anything and everything they can to hold on to power, to hold on to the control. And during this time, you're going to see, like, this is why this is such a time to be wary because you are going to be seeing people jumping from the dark side to the light side.
And that should be allowed, they shouldn't it?
Well, they have to take accountability for what they've done.
Well, then they're going to burn in hell. I mean, I've got to sell this. This is a crappy T-shirt, and I was bought into this con. Massive fucking
This is a con, yeah.
This was an absolute con. Waste of £20. Join the resistance. It's a rag for the floor. Or whatever. I mean, God. I was like, fucking hell, Michael. It's like I've gone to way to the other way, and I kind of brought it in. But yeah, no, the thing, this is what gives me the trust. I do my own divination now, and that gives me the complete bang the fuck on answers.
Hi, Simone. I just saw your face. Your lovely face.
Oh, bless you.
Do you want to add to this?
I think a large proportion of the confusion that we're in is that obviously we've all undergone a degree of programming, social engineering throughout our whole lives. And we have idolized these people on the TVs and in these positions of power and respected them. And, you know, when you go back to the scriptures, you know, God is no respecter of persons. He doesn't look at people and say, well, that person's better than that and that is going to be more. And I think we as a people have lost our innate ability to discern because of the social engineering, because of the manipulation, because of the programming. We have come accustomed to and acclimatized to these people being the faces and the names and trusted celebrities, trusted politicians, trusted people. and in a way that skewed our own ability to see what is right from wrong. Not right from wrong in terms of our actions, but in what we perceive as right and wrong. We're seeing these people, parade around doing so-called good things for charity and in the name of humanity and climate change and all these things, and we've bought into it. So when you look at someone like Trump, for example, a lot of people are 50-50 divided, because they're sort of seeing some good things coming out of it. Not a lot, but some good things. And then for the most part, what is being done in secret and behind everyone's back isn't so good. And people aren't seeing, because the negative side, or even when like bills are passed or things that are changing, they are publicized and presented to the public in a positive light, and not so much looking at it from the negative side on what it really means, balancing it out, the pros and the cons. For example, the HR 666 bill, there was everyone saying how good it was and what it's done, but actually they're not looking that what it did was raise something like $60 trillion more debt. That's what it was doing. It was flooded. It was basically printing more money into this debt system. And I mean, the same for England. The UK is now something like an extra 300 billion pounds into debt, because what they're doing is they're just cashing in on this crisis to then push forward more of their nefarious plans and obviously create more wealth for themselves. And I think what we have to be mindful of is, yes, Trump may be a wall for a season, a time in a season. God raises up kings, God raises up rulers of nations. It's not man. We don't elect. It's God has divinely orchestrated it for such a time as this. And I think whilst Trump might on the surface be doing good things, you have to see or consider that he is not in the position that he's in without getting the leg up from these same people. He is very much a part of the system. There's no way he accumulated such wealth and power over so many decades and not go untouched by these people. And I just think that the AI technology, the technology that they've got in place is far superior than what we could ever imagine. Whatever we think in our minds, you've got to think 100 years ahead. Definitely. And I think that the AI manipulation, the AI algorithms, the AI, all the social media, they're all tied to the CIA. They're all tied to Google, Facebook. They're all part of CIA operations to manipulate your thought process, what people believe, what people see. So it's not only social media and AI tech, it's also the press and these big propaganda machines. And it's just a full-on attack on our psyche as humans, as individuals, as people who love humanity and love the world. We want the best. We want to see the best in people, and not, we don't necessarily look for the worst in people. We look for the best. And so I think that all plays into their hand in respect of this whole plan. They've planned it out for the last 100 years at least. The Council of 300, you go back to Aldous Huxley's book, A Brave New World, which was early 1900s, and it's all basically playing out now what he was saying that would be in the year 2020, 2030. And we can't forget that. We have to look at patterns, we have to look at behavior over a period of time. And I just think that we are so susceptible to being hoodwinked. We're so susceptible to believing and buying into more lies if we're not careful.
That is such an amazing point, Simone, especially how you linked everything, because this is kind of what I wanted to touch on, the actor-based reality and how it ties in to everything else. which is why I want to play this video, and I'm hoping you guys can hear it actually, because it's like, how does this all tie into the cabal and their agenda? But actually Simone actually explained it very very clearly and very well, so I'm hoping you can hear this. I'll play a little bit of him. Can you all hear it?
Not yet.
Can anyone hear it?
There's no sound.
No.
No.
Oh, it's just such a shame. I don't know how to play it.
Can you paste the link in the comments, Alex?
It's actually just a video that was downloaded. I don't have the link.
Is this on a website or a present? This is PowerPoint.
It's a PowerPoint.
How weird.
Then you've got the bandwidth, Alex.
Sorry?
Then you've got the bandwidth.
Yeah, I should do.
Playing really slowly.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see it's a bit slow.
But you can't hear him at all.
No.
No.
Who is he?
Well, he's just someone that I found on YouTube, but basically what he's talking about is how the actor-based reality plays into the cabal and the agenda, but I'm quite grateful that someone actually explained it as well.
Maybe send us after this. Maybe
yeah.
send us.
Oh no,
YouTube
definitely.
Link.
I'll send you the link, the YouTube link, because honestly, it's like 8 minutes long, but it's so interesting.
I've just sent a link to another about a 30-minute. It's so funny, Alex, because I was flicking through my feed and there was this whole 30-minute talk on cloning. Now I haven't watched it. I just saved it to my save thing, and I've just posted the link in the chat. I wonder what it's all about, the cloning, and you're right. It's playing with our emotions. You know, it goes back to the mind control agenda. So we are all mind controlled by this. Our emotions are manipulated. You know, they really, you know, even you guys must have been watching like UK column news and stuff, right?
Oh.
No, UK column news is like, I would definitely recommend to tap into that. They're on Facebook. They've got their own page. UK column news is a very truthful news presentation. They do Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, and they go into like the 77th Brigade, how the psychological warfare is being waged upon us as the British public by the 76th, which is a company, an army company set up within the army just to purely combat disinformation, but also infiltrate all the social media and implant psychological tactics within it to change people's views, to change their mindset. So we're very much under attack in terms of mind control, and they will use everything from celebrities to politicians to endorse and the narrative, to endorse what they're saying. But also you've got these secretive agents now who are part of the army, the British Army, actually targeting us on social media.
I'm just thinking, if I play this on my phone, will you guys be able to hear it? I really just want to play like 2-3 minutes. It's so interesting, his perception and his and let me just play it to you. It's so interesting.
Video
Can you hear this?
Peace, bro. Really enjoying your stuff. Actor-based reality fucking hit me really hard because when I was a kid, before I saw the Truman Show or anything, I had this kind of delusion that every single person was an actor and that I was the only real person. It's fucking weird. And there was all shit going on in my head because I've always been a deep thinker since I was a kid. Always pondered death, always wondered what's after death, and had this issue with consciousness since I was like very young, like too young for me to handle it. And it ended up with me having a couple freakouts. Hey ho, I'm pretty stable in my life and everything now, but still a deep thinker and a truth seeker. And the actor-based reality, wow. I've like thought about this quite a lot in the past. Obviously, ever since I was like even 10, I didn't even believe in like politics and stuff. I just always assumed, of course there's more stuff going on. Of course power is more abstract than what is being presented to us. So with that in mind, the other thing I've been thinking of is how actor-based reality ties into the art of manifestation. Now, I've always considered actors. I had this LSD trip once where I thought like actors are like more than just actors, like real actors, like Hollywood actors and stuff. Are doing more. They're not like, it's like conjure. It's like conjuring feelings. And it's like, on this trip I had this idea that we live under the presupposition that we respond emotionally to life. So life creates external things, then we respond emotionally to them. And if bad things are happening, we respond badly. If good things are happening, we respond goodly. But then it hit me, well, how come actors can just conjure these feelings? So I just thought maybe that's the truth of it. Maybe actually, like, as a creator, you can paint drama you like you can actually choose to be, I know it sounds crazy, but the conditioning is so strong that you can choose to be happy right now, like with your lot. You can choose to say, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to be happy. And once you've got control over your emotions, you can like center yourself vibrationally and think happiness, hold yourself in happiness, and then the external reality is going to unfold in that manner. So actors are not just like, actors and wizards are synonymous, because acting, like true, like, you know how they teach you in like British like thespian acting, they say you have to feel it, you know, like you have to feel every line, you have to feel every word, and you have to like be the character, you know. And then these people, these De Niro's and stuff, they're more than just a person, like you say. The next level of their character is the actor, who's also a character. But when you like take yourself out of the idea that you are subject to the world's influence emotionally, what does that do for your sense of personal identity then? It's like a fracturing, but because you define yourself by what is going on in the outside world, right? Like, as a person, I like this, I like that, I like these clothes, I like this music. But when all of a sudden you just feel whatever about anything that you're choosing, it does something different. You're a different being then, you know. You're like you're not being defined by what's outside, you're defining yourself. And I think it's like super powerful to have that and be able to like jump in, like how Jim Carrey does, jumps into these different personalities, invents these new personalities in his head and becomes them. And
okay, I want to stop there, but I'll send you guys the full link. But it's super interesting his perception around it. Could anyone else relate?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
It really blew my mind what he was talking about. I'm going to send you the full link afterwards because I just didn't want to go on too long. I'm just being mindful of the time. I know JP's had to jump off. So what is the link between crisis actors, clones, and how does this tie into false flags and MK Ultra? I know Simone touched on it briefly with clones, but are you guys all aware of like crisis actors and false flag events?
I know about false flag events, yeah. Not so sure about clones.
Yeah, Olivia, what do you know?
I know about all the crisis actors, especially with a lot of stuff that's gone on here in the United States, all of the different, like the bombings and the school shootings and that. They're the same people at these things, and there's pictures and there's proof, and no one wants to believe it.
I mean, it's funny, Alex, you were saying there was that guy, remember I was talking to you on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, I was going, who the fuck is that ranty guy with the dreadlocks? I don't like him, he's too ranty, I'm picking up a bad vibe, I'm like, can't watch this. And then he was saying about we can't give in, and I think he said that before the whole George Floyd thing, didn't he?
No. I think you've got the wrong idea of him. He's lovely, honestly. Like he is.
I know I've got the wrong idea. I completely admit I got him wrong. But didn't he post that?
No, George Floyd just happened, and then he posted it because he was basically like, "Don't fall for it, guys. Like this is going to happen." He was pre-warning people before the riots. He did talk about it before the riots because he knew that was coming. He knows the plan. He's so in tune. He is so aware.
I've been doing hashtag All Lives Matter. Yes. Society, but the society has been built, in my opinion, society's been built. It's quite funny because my best mate at university, Neil, he's now in Melbourne, and he was a graphic designer, and he He was a black guy who came down from Nottingham, and I was a white guy doing graphic design. He was a black guy, and we had really good books together. We both went off and did our own thing in the final year, and we came back and they fucked us over because they then said, we're not going to mark you on attendance. And then they basically fucked us over. So we were both looking at each other thinking, we're going to get like thirds here because we haven't had their attendance to get a fucking degree, which is all, again, conditioning and bullshit. And it's all about control. Basically, this is all about fucking control, and dividing us and conquering us.
Exactly. And the thing is, we know that, Miguel. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all here, we all know that is part of the plan. That's the agenda. But the worrying thing is that the people that aren't aware of what's going on are really, really buying into the illusion of the division, and that's what's quite worrying. Simone, did you want to add anything onto this section? Like, did you want to? I know you have so much knowledge around this subject. Like, how does MK Ultra tie into all of this?
Well, I would say when you're talking about clones, it's actually far worse than what you can imagine. What they've been doing in these underground stations, they've actually been not just cloning humans, but they've been manipulating DNA between animals and humans. And the idea of clones is to fulfill a function, i.e., take someone out who is of prominence, so that they can then, if they're not playing their game or if they're getting old, these are lifetime actors. A lot of these lifetime actors get rolled out at, you look at Bono, you look at Paul McCartney, like you mentioned, you look at, I don't know, they just pull them out to Morgan Freeman, they get them on the Globe, the awards ceremonies to say, to push a narrative, to say something. So the clones operate in that function for them, politicians, celebrities, A-listers, you name it. But then they also serve the other purpose, which is for military. So what they're doing is they're creating super soldiers. And what they do is they manipulate, clones for a start, they are robotic, they're programmed. I mean, they potentially also already merged with AI, because that's what Elon Musk has been doing with the Neuralink. Putting the chip in the brain, and then you are basically a cyborg. Exactly. Well, they've been doing that with soldiers. So they've been cloning DNA, creating these super soldiers who are just ready to kill, and then they've also been twisting the DNA with animal DNA structure. So there's all kinds of hybrids that are beneath the surface of, in these DUMBs, in these deep underground bases across the world. And
Scotland, I hope.
Scotland is a very old base in terms of royalty and Freemasonry, and the Knights of Malta.
God.
It's funny that you mentioned about the cloning between the humans and the animals, because looking into ancient civilizations, if you look into like Lemuria and Atlantis, they were doing this before the massive cataclysms happened, because this is dangerously playing with God. Like this is not to be a play around with. Like, we aren't meant to be doing this. So this is when, just before all the floods happened in Lemuria and Atlantis, before the Great Reset and the Great Wipeout.
Yeah, look at the Egyptians, look at the hieroglyphics, look at all their statues. They were half bird, half man, half something, half, they have been doing it. And I'll tell you why, because DNA is a structure, it's a language. DNA is coding, it's your biological coding. And what you have to remember is, when God spoke the world into creation, speaking is a language, it's a sound, it's a vibration, an energy, frequency, but it's also code. And so when you think about what the devil, what Satan has tried to do, he's trying to corrupt God's image, because we are all made in God's image and his likeness. And that is just the final stage. You know, he corrupted actual civilization going back, you know, because all Satan wanted to do was dethrone God and put himself where Most High was. So it all goes back to that, really, that yes, they're playing God with DNA and humans. They're playing God with weather. They're playing God with food. They're playing God with medicine, pharmakia, which is sorcery.
Yes.
You know, they have their hand in everything. And
where do you find this stuff, Simone? Where the fuck do you where do you find this stuff?
It's all there.
It is all there, Miguel. But you know what amazes me with Simone is her ability to retain all this information.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm like, I can't take any Simone today. I'm not going to go on Facebook. But then there's this big, huge, like, it looked like a massive, I don't know, tent throwing out all this white shit. Because I believe in chemtrails. And I talk to people about chemtrails, contrails, and I say, look, that's a chemtrail because it's got a fucking, you know, a 2 mile bloody trail behind it. Whereas a contrail, it kind of, as soon as it's out, then it's dissipated because it's just sheer chemistry with the way how the atmosphere works.
Do you know what's worse, Miguel? I've never got any good news. Sorry. What they've also been spraying, it's not just chemicals. These are nanobots.
Right.
If you check out nanobots, Morgellons disease.
It's disgusting. Watch it. It's disgusting.
Basically, it's silicone AI technology. So they are so advanced in their technology that they've been spraying nanobots. And what happens is when these tiny nanobots, like nanoparticles, enter your body, you breathe them in, but that's not when they're activated. The bit that when they're activated is when your mucus comes up and then you swallow it. And what it does, it goes down into your stomach where the acid is, and it's there that the reaction takes place, and these nanobots come to life. And they're like little ticks. And what they do, they have antennas and sensors, and they feed back to the AI, the satellites that Elon Musk and all these other people have been putting in the atmosphere. They feed back all your biometric data. And they are basically taking a virtual image of you in their virtual cloud. So it sounds nuts. But this is what I'm saying to you. We have got to think, okay, not just think about now. Well, okay, their technology is like 100 years ahead. And a lot of what they tell us they've had in their back pocket. You know, look at yeah, exactly. You were looking at the I think it was Betty the sheep that was playing. What was the name? Do you remember? They gave it a name.
Yeah.
Try and humanize it. They've been doing that for 20 years. They've been doing it far longer. And so now they've perfected it.
Yeah.
And that's why part of the agenda are these chemtrails, because it does poison the plants but basically we're cattle, and they've been tagging us for the past 50, 60 years at least. I mean, they've been tagging us with our birth certificate anyway, but that's another story. But the actual tagging and tracing us and tracking us and monitoring us has been, you know, that stuff's been going on for years too. So ultimately what will happen with that, once they've got a full picture of the whole of the world and all the, you know, the people that they're targeting, they then reverse. So the nanobots at the moment their antennas are sending the data and the information that way, but there will come a time when they reverse that, and the information will come from there into us, and we won't know. We won't know that we're being, you know, we're.
Our thoughts are basically going to be like implanted. Our thoughts won't be from us.
Yes, yeah, but you'll think they're from you. You won't know any different. You'll go to the voting box and you'll vote for a certain thing, and you won't know why.
I don't
You're
even think
looking
voting
to-
will be a thing, if I'm honest with you, Simone, in the future, because I think it'll be, they won't even need it at that point. I
It's
don't
an
think.
example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, what is the reason behind the creation of this illusion? So, I mean, the actor-based reality plays into manifestation, as we briefly heard from Jack. So actors conjure their own reality, therefore actors are like wizards in a sense, passing the emotion onto you when you're watching them. And then just going back to Hollywood and this whole deception, I was talking to Joe earlier. I mean, the reason why Hollywood is called Hollywood is because back in the pagan days, the wizards used to use the wood from holly to conjure up their spells and conjure up their magic. And then, you know, this is black magic that they're used by the cabal for the agenda, implementing a controlled opposition to create a false awakening, to attempt holding on to power and control, because that is what they're doing. They really are trying to hold on to this. But you know, this is all to get us to want a new world order, using these actors to play out these narratives, creating problems, waiting for our reactions and bringing in the solution. So again, it's the problem, reaction, solution plan. But yeah, so did anyone else have anything to add to this section as well?
Can I ask a question?
Yes. You're on mute, Simone. Simone, you're still on mute.
Sorry, I was going to ask a question. What do people think about you were talking about playing into the New World Order, and you know, that's what they want. Well, what do you think we're doing now? Like, I keep thinking, well, if we're all trying to overturn government, if we're all trying to overturn and enlighten people and show people the truth, then isn't that also playing into their hands? And because we're saying, well, the old system doesn't work and isn't working and is wrong and corrupt, but we haven't really got any other I want to say choice. It's not really choice. We haven't really got a substitute for what we have right now. And I just wondered.
I think Simone, like, we're going to very much be the leaders of the new world. And when I say new world, I don't mean the new world order. I mean, there is a new earth coming, because we also have to take into consideration the new energies that are upgrading. The golden era that we're coming into, you know, the age of Aquarius. We're leaving the age of deceit and lies, and this is why all the truth is coming to the surface. The elites have had their time now, like the ones who you know, the dark ones who have been controlling us and having their power over us. They know their time is up. Like, they've had their time, and they know that their time was for a certain time, and it's told throughout like ancient history as well. I mean, for me personally, like, light always wins. Good and light always wins over dark and evil.
Darkness shall not overcome the light.
Exactly.
Most definitely.
And you see, Simone, how many people are waking up. You know, there are a lot of people, and I feel like 2020 has been really pivotal. I feel like this situation has been really pivotal. Like, you know, I went through my awakening 8 years ago. I started going through all these rabbit holes, and you know, my personal experiences, my truth seeking was simultaneously happening alongside my spiritual awakening, and that was very lonely. It was a very, very lonely time, you know, like hardly any people. We were all placed sporadically around the world, and obviously now we know why, because we were meant to be spreading our light, and it has been working, I believe, because you see how many people are questioning the narrative now. There's and I'm seeing it more than ever now, like, and the amount of people that I have connected with just in this year alone, just from January 2020 up until right now, so like the last 5-6 months, that I've connected with, who are conscious, aware, spiritually awake.
We are our own virus. to counteract their virus.
Yes.
Our growth is the form of it's like it's an organic process. I've linked in with Simone and yourself, like I said earlier, because those whoever they were.
Unity is the key to our freedom, and essentially we will have no choice but to come together. We will come together, you know, like this.
It's like being in a body. In your body, you've got foreign bacteria who are coming in to harm you, and then all the good bacteria come in, band together, and kick that bad bacteria out.
We are the white blood
technically
cells.
the good bacteria of the world, trying to get that balance back. And
remember that we live in a dualistic universe as well. Like, you know, we live in polarity, right? So dark cannot be ruling forever. You know, it's a constant oscillation between light and dark, good and evil. It's a constant oscillation between the two, the balance, finding the balance, you know. And, you know, we all have good and dark within us. We all have the ability to be evil, but we are choosing to be light. And we're passing that on, you know, like majority of me is light, majority of you guys is light. And I'm personally excited and very positive about the future, if I'm honest. And I completely understand it doesn't look great now, but if you think about when you're detoxing and when you're getting ill and your body's trying to repair itself, you go through a detox process of what you would call being ill. So, you know, you would feel like a fluey, you don't feel good, you don't feel your best self, but then afterwards you come out and you feel so much better and you're stronger and your cells are renewed, you know. And that's going to be basically the case here, I believe.
I think you're right. I mean, I know Simone paints a very kind of black and white, this is what's going on, and in some ways when I take Simone's narrative, it sounds very doom and fucking gloom. Because I'm thinking, shit, how are they got away with it?
It's the facts, and I think we are going to have to really, really face the darkness of what's been going on, because it has been very, very hidden. So yes, for now, it is going to very much look like that.
That's what I'm waiting for. Who is going to whistleblow it?
We all are. We're doing it right now.
We all have a responsibility.
Yes.
We've all been given this information and this knowledge, and we've all been divinely connected with each other for a reason and a purpose, and that is to operate together in unity, but also to bring truth and light to those who are living in the darkness.
Exactly.
And so yeah, the responsibility lies with us, sadly, because, well, not sadly, but you know, that's actually what should empower us, is that it is our responsibility.
And it's also part of our spiritual evolution to take on these roles. This is what we came here for.
Yeah, you know,
it's not necessarily whistleblowing. It's teaching, showing people, getting the knowledge out there of what's really going on,
and the wisdom.
And then, yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's sharing the knowledge rather than pointing fingers and saying, you know, this is that guy over there did it. No, it's a bunch of people.
And I'm sorry, Miguel, for always being a bearer of bad news.
Oh God, it's another post from Simone. Or I go when I see your post on Facebook, I'm like, okay, do we read it? And I've watched that girl who tweeted about Cardi B, who I hadn't even heard of. And I was just watching her video just before this started. And I was thinking, yeah, this is stuff I'm already aware of. It's stuff I'm enlightened to. But you see, people are. But the thing is, the majority of people in society are scared shitless of death. They're like, I'm going to die. I don't want to die. And it's
not just that. It's the reality that they are living in, which is a false reality.
Yeah.
And when you bring new information to somebody who is not aware, it's cognitive dissonance, where you have disrupted the very core belief system that they've built their whole life upon, and they can't handle it. They will do anything to reject that new information. They will do anything to cast it aside, to discredit it, to ignore it, because facing up to it is takes a lot of courage. So you guys sitting here having these discussions, you are courageous. You're courageous people because you've been able to come face to face with the reality of everything that's going on, and yet still remain sane.
Yes.
Before
So-
all this lockdown, I was a very depressed member of the Labour Party, campaigning, leafleting, flyering, wanting a better society, blah, 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 blah. Then I find out that Jeremy Corbyn was party to kicking the child sex abuse inquiry into the long grass, so it never saw the light of day. I still think that's going to be the case. I mean, over here in the UK, we have a famous singer who makes out he's such a Christian and he loves playing tennis. I think he's a sicko weirdo, personally. My intuition thinks, I don't buy your story.
Who's that?
Cliff Richard.
Oh, yeah.
Filmed House, Guest House. I mean, how can you explain that? And before, I mean, I'm quite techie, as you girls know. Before Leon Britton died, if you Googled Leon Britton cancer, nothing came up on the search engines. And like there was that woman with the Visto adverts. Everybody knew she had was it breast cancer or something, and then she had a course of Linda Bellingham. She had like 2-3 years of trying to beat it, and then unfortunately she lost her battle with it. But with Leon Britton, it was just so instant, because if people had worked out, I mean, one guy quoted saying, "I saw him hiding in the back garden in a kind of a French maid's pinny or something, naked, apart from this French maid's pinny, near to Elm's house." People would be able to put 2 and 2. There's been a whole kind of, it was all out in the open, all in the papers, and then suddenly it's all a load of bullshit and they're covering it up. And Cliff Richard was, I think there's a saying, I think thou protest too much. And he was going overdrive, saying, "Oh, the BBC with this, and I've done nothing wrong, and I'm innocent." And, he was making out he was whiter than white. And I just don't buy it. Don't buy it whatsoever.
And anyone who has a substantial amount of money, anyone who has been a front on newspapers and magazines and in the public eye, you have to question. That's what I've come to the conclusion, that there are only a few people who are credible, who are who haven't been corrupted, who haven't been blackmailed, who haven't been mind controlled, who haven't got some kind of tie into it or making profit from something or other.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing, that your TV and your papers and everything else are just full of lies and deceit.
Oh, I'm now apolitical. I don't support any. I'm not affiliated to any party. I don't buy into their narrative, because again, it's divide and conquer on a political standpoint. It's divide and conquer on a cultural standpoint. It's divide and conquer on a religious standpoint. And as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, divide and conquer from a race standpoint. And if anybody stood up to this and said, well, there was that Candice whatever saying stuff, but they're afraid of saying, "Oh, but you're a racist." But it's because that's that fear of God.
They always use the race card because it's the easiest way to divide. That's why they always use it, because it's just the easiest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I just find it funny that they're making a march out of a guy who actually wasn't a very nice guy, from what I found out about him.
Well, I believe he was an actor, wasn't he?
Was he?
He was a crisis actor.
Well, this is what I don't know. You see,
it's very like. There's a lot of plan behind it. This is that for me is like another false flag in my eyes.
You talking about George Floyd?
Yeah.
George Floyd. Yeah, his dad was a Freemason. He was a 33-degree Freemason. Him and his brother were very much part of Freemasonry. And you're right, they worked together for 17 years.
Yeah.
The officer that was, so-called officer, the Asian officer that was just standing there like a gormless twit, his sister is married to that officer, Chauvin. So they're all very much known. I mean, how you can call it a race attack anyway, when there was only one white officer, the other 3 were Asian and black themselves.
This is what I mean.
The whole thing is staged, and it has its roots. The symbolism is there. All the signs, all the patterns are there. And when you dig into the history, it's all there. So You know,
Yeah.
it's just such a shame when you see such lovely people in your own life, friends and family, people who are God, like you say, God-fearing. Sorry, call came through. God-fearing men and women who are being swept away by this bullshit.
Yeah.
And who are really believing it. And you know, to a degree, I understand about race hate. I get it. I'm half Iranian, and I've got Black people in my family who married into the family. I've got Black cousins and relatives, you know. And to me, it's such a shame that they've been tainted by this 400-year-old. It goes back further, but you know, the slave trade, you know, that these people are still in a victim mindset, because that's what it is. It's victim mentality. It's basically saying this
Victim
happened to my
consciousness, yeah.
people, this happened, you know. And it goes again to your emotions, because that's all it's doing. Is we're emotional people. We are influenced by, that's why they get influential speakers to speak, to give speeches, to do these things, because it's we're a storytelling people, you know.
It plays on the emotions of people.
And before technology, before even books were available, we would sit and tell stories to one another. We would tell each other fables, and you know, would use our imagination and our creativity. And that's what they play on. Is,
Do you know what's,
is yeah.
What's funny? You talk about false flags and just divide and conquer. Sport is a load of bollocks, really, and it's used to control the masses. And
that's a distraction. That's used as a distraction. The same times in the Roman times, they used to have the lions and the amphitheaters. Yes.
Give them bread and circuses, and they'll do whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's keeping them distracted.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge part too. A huge part in human trafficking.
What do you mean,
Yes.
Olivia?
Yes, Olivia's right. They use these big sporting events.
Yeah, they use events to basically funnel their trafficking through. Their human trafficking. You know, kids will go missing. People will go missing at these things. Same at like Disneyland or frickin' like
care homes. The lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big park that I used to live by, Glacier, national parks, people go missing in those places. And who owns those places? The people who are doing all the trafficking. It's all a big, sick mess.
Cycle, yeah.
Yeah, it pushes their rituals as well, those events. Yeah. It's a ritual, and then they'll often have it on certain days.
Well, look at the Olympics 2012 ritual, for example.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me if that was a huge child trafficking event there as well, because there were so many kids.
Yeah.
And what they do is they put them on show, and then the people that are the handlers that are going to take them, they'll mark them out. You know, it's just
sick.
Yeah.
Didn't they run it wasn't the proper one which was on the TV, wasn't it? Wasn't there a version of the either the closing ceremony or the opening ceremony where they had this big, and it was all kind of hospital, and they had this coronavirus symbolism in the middle? Wasn't that in a demo run? But they used that as a ritual.
That was the actual thing. That was the actual thing.
2012 Olympics.
Yeah. So guys,
I actually believed that they were planning on the virus for that year, but for whatever reason, because you wouldn't put a spectacular ritual like that. That's so, now we look back, it's so obvious.
Well, actually, Simone, funny you say that, but like, have you heard about the Mayan calendar that apparently like they calculated it wrong, and actually we're in 2012 now?
No, I haven't heard that.
But okay, well, I'll have to send it round. But apparently, this is our 2012 because they apparently skipped 8 years out.
I did not know that. No.
They're saying Sunday's the end of the world.
Yeah, they'll
No.
say a lot, but
It's not the end of the world. It's the end of the old way. It's the beginning of the new way. With the world's ending. I mean, it's like doom and gloom. It's because I support Liverpool for my sins, and they're saying, "Oh, Liverpool aren't going to win it," because some people are recording that on Sunday will be the end of the world. But they're not meaning. But people are taking it literally. We are going through. We're in eclipse season right now, and that's where it's eclipsing what was and it's what is now, and it's a massive shift change. Because
we've got seven planets in retrograde.
Yes.
So, but yeah, guys, I'm just being mindful of time, and I really, really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom as usual. Just going forward, obviously these happen every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. If you want to take to the floor, if you want to hold space or even suggest a topic, please just get in touch with me and feel free to lead. One thing we didn't touch on though is Q. I know that's another massive discussion, but yeah, so that's another controlled opposition part of the plan.
Why don't we do a whole one on that? Because I was briefly...
I would love to do a whole topic on this, yeah.
For a couple of weeks during lockdown thinking, oh my God, Trump's going to save the day.
Nope.
It's the biggest load of bollocks going.
Yeah. It's a psyop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's very much tied in with the Zionists. Very much in for the Zionists. Look what he's doing in Israel.
Politics is anyone.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Bless you, friend.
I look forward to catching up next week. Hopefully you can all make the one next week.
What's it on about next week?
I was actually going to do it on karma.
I'll be there.
The topic of karma, yeah.
My sister's going out with a guy. Well, sorry, my sister was married to a guy, complete fucking narcissist, and he's got massive karma coming his way. I'm a great believer in karma. Hence, you girls, I was like, oh, fuck, I can't do these fucking videos. I've got to bin them off. This is like with about 10 days to go. I'm thinking I'm halfway through. I've got to get this one done. And then you said, can you do the other one? I'm thinking, no, I've got to do them. I can't let them down because they've already been let down. And I thought...
Oh, you did an amazing job, Miguel.
Well, I'm a great believer in karma. And that's why that was one of the factors. I thought, not just karma, but I thought, well, I want to be a good guy. I don't want them to think that Miguel's a complete twat. He said he was going to do it, and he's another one who's let us down. So,
let's jump on next week and have this discussion.
Yes, karma, very interesting.
Thank you, guys.
Bless you.
Lots of love. Speak to you next week. Bye.